You're watching AWANI Tonight with me, Farhana Sheikh. The Court of Appeal has acquitted Tan Sri Muhammad Isa Samad of his conviction and sentence on 9 counts of corruption involving the purchase of a hotel in Sarawak. The 3-judge panel, led by Judge Dato' Wazir Alam Maidin Mira, unanimously set aside the High Court's conviction in 2021.
Wazir said there are 2 versions of the purported money being given, and the benefit of the doubt should be given to the appellant. The former Felda chairman was sentenced to 6 years in jail and fined 15.4 million ringgit by the High Court in 2021 after he was found guilty of 9 counts of bribery, amounting to 3 million ringgit in connection with Felda's acquisition of Merdeka Palace Hotel and Suites in Kuching. He was subsequently sentenced by then High Court Judge Datuk Muhammad Nazlan Muhammad Ghazali, now a Court of Appeal judge, to 6 years imprisonment and a fine of 15.45 million ringgit, or in default another 18 years of jail. When met after the decision, Muhammad Isa thanked God for the appellate court decision after a 6-year struggle with the case and said he may consider returning back to politics.
The police have agreed to publish daily statistics on deaths caused by traffic accidents. Transport Minister Anthony Loh says this was decided at a meeting by the Cabinet Committee on Road Safety and Traffic Congestion today.
Sekarang ini, biasanya statistik ini hanya dikeluarkan setahun sekali setahun. Mengumpulkan segala jumlah kemalangan dan biasanya statistik itu hanya dikeluarkan setahun sekali. Tetapi itu memberikan satu gambaran yang mungkin tidak memberikan kebimbangan kepada pihak orang ramai. Apa yang kerajaan nak laksanakan ialah supaya meningkatkan kesedaran orang ramai bahawa kemalangan di jalan raya ini merupakan antara punca utama kematian kepada negara kita.
According to Loh, road accidents were the 4th leading cause of death in the country, with 6,443 fatalities last year. This averaged 18 deaths a day, or 1 every 80 minutes. He added that 2/3 of the total were caused by motorcycle accidents.
The government is detaining around 12,000 migrants and refugees, including 1,400 children, in conditions that put them at risk of mental and physical abuse, according to Human Rights Watch. In a report released today, the rights watchdog says the current immigration detention system denies migrants and refugees their rights to liberty, health and due process.
The 60-page report documents the alleged conditions in the immigration detention centres across the country, based on interviews with former detainees, family members, lawyers and former immigration officials. Former detainees recalled limited food and hygiene supplies, frequent water shortages and strict rules. Punishments included beatings by officers, forced stress positions, isolation, withholding meals and orders to perform squats or push-ups. They said children detained at the depots were also subjected to the same abuses, including denial of medical care and ill treatment, with malnutrition widespread. Human Rights Watch noted that Malaysian law considered all irregular entry and stay in the country a criminal offence, with no distinction made among asylum seekers, refugees, trafficking victims and undocumented migrants. It added that there was no legal limit to the length of immigration detention, leaving migrants at risk of being detained indefinitely.
In response, Home Minister Dato' Sri Saifuddin Nasution Ismail denied allegations by the Human Rights Watch that 1,400 children were being detained nationwide. He questioned the credibility of the sources, urging the group to identify the locations of the depots where the reported child detentions took place.
Ini pertama kali saya dengar, kalau boleh sebut depo mana? Depo Semenyih, depo KLIA, depo Tuaran. Sebut dengan jelas bahawa berlaku adil pada kita untuk mendapatkan maklumat yang sahih dan apakah benar perkara itu berlaku.
The minister also denied claims that the country's immigration detention centres were overcrowded. According to him, there were around 13,000 detainees across 19 depots in Malaysia. He noted that the only time where the depots experienced congestion was during the COVID-19 pandemic, when the government was unable to repatriate them.
In other news, the Subsidized Diesel Control System, SKDS Project 2.0, has been expanded to include more companies in the land transport sector. Domestic Trade and Cost of Living Minister Dato' Armizan Muhammad Ali said beginning March 7th, land transport companies that operate 9 types of vehicles can apply to participate in the My Subsidy Diesel System and Fleet Card System.
The 9 vehicle types are general cargo lorries, bottled drinks lorries, refrigerated lorries, Luton lorries, prime movers, flour tankers, water tankers and panelled window vans. Armizan said companies involved can apply to the ministry and once they have received approval can proceed to obtain fleet cards from any one of the 5 participating oil companies. From February 1st, 6 pilot companies have been using the basic quote for subsidized diesel using a fleet card, which is part of the My Subsidy Diesel System. Armizan said the application period for the initiative is until March 31st.
We'll go for a quick break. Stay tuned for more.
Papa, itu kan lampu merah.
Kanak-kanak pun faham peraturan jalan raya.
Welcome back. The World Food Programme says its first attempt in 2 weeks to bring desperately needed food aid to northern Gaza was blocked by the Israel Defense Forces. The UN agency says the convoy of 14 lorries was turned back at a checkpoint and was later looted by the crowd.
In a statement, the agency said its food convoy was turned back by the Israeli army after a 3-hour wait at the Wadi Gaza checkpoint. The trucks were rerouted and later stopped by a large crowd of desperate people who grabbed the food, taking some 200 tons from the trucks. Last month, the agency said it was pausing deliveries of aid to northern Gaza until conditions are in place that allow for safe distributions. On Tuesday, the World Health Organization warned that children were dying of starvation in northern Gaza. Deliveries of food aid to the whole of Gaza are falling far short of what is needed, and the problem is worse in the north because the only crossing where Israel allows trucks to pass are in the south.
Meanwhile, police in India have arrested 5 more men in connection with the gang rape of a Spanish tourist, bringing the total number of detainees to 8. Authorities say they are building a strong case against the men, adding that if any are found guilty, they will face strict punishment.
The woman said she was attacked last week in Dumka district in the eastern Indian state of Jharkhand, where she was camping with her husband. A cheque for $12,000 was given to the couple as compensation under a victim compensation scheme. 3 other men appeared in court on Monday and were later remanded in custody. Rape convictions are rare in India, with cases stuck for years in the country's backlogged criminal justice system. According to the National Crime Records Bureau, an average of nearly 90 rapes were reported in India every day in 2022. Many cases continue to go unreported due to stigma attached to victims and a lack of confidence in police convictions.
Ukraine's economy contracts after Russia's attack in 2022 compared to the growth they made in the previous year. With the war entering its 3rd year, the country struggles to draw in foreign investment with its maritime trade routes still under Russia's control. Ukraine now faces a mammoth task in growing its economy just to not be left behind. Lukman Haris reports from Kiev.
Now, the war for the past 2 years has, of course, decimated Ukraine's economy. It saw a 3.4% increase in GDP in 2021, down to a 29.1% decline in its GDP in 2022 after the attack. Now, the war may seem distant from us, but the economy has no boundaries, it has no borders. The three main exports of Ukraine are agricultural and food products, metals, and also minerals. So these items have a chain reaction towards the economies of the whole world, including Malaysia. We talk about the prices of food, basic commodities, the prices of food for livestock. All this, or at least a significant amount of this, passed through the Black Sea, which is still witnessing fierce combat and which is still conquered by Russia. So for as long as the Black Sea maritime route, trading route, is blocked by the war, we may expect to see a continued and persistent heightening of food items and also the general cost of living, not just in European countries, but also in Asia and Malaysia. Lukman Haris reporting from Chernihiv, Ukraine, for Astro AWANI.
Though restriction on movement of goods added pressure to Ukraine's economy that was already stressed by the war, the government is still determined to attract investors to the country.
Around 65 or 66% of municipalities in Ukraine didn't face even one air raid attack, which means that the investments and businesses, and the investors might, look the opportunities to locate the production facilities in Ukraine, even having Ukraine in the war stage. And that's the important understanding, that the country is not, the whole country is not the red zone.
The impact of the war on the economy is felt throughout the country, including in small towns like Nijin, which is still trying to rebuild after being among the first locations attacked by the Russian army. Meanwhile, for small business owner Yuri Tustanovsky, the war broke out just as he was starting out his business, feeling a greater struggle to continue.
It's every day you have some moments that you think, oh, it would be easy to stop, but for sure we are now it's important for Ukraine, like a country, to receive taxes, and it helps to pay some salaries, for example, for militaries, yeah, and it's a big task and issue for businesses to help our economies. That's why when we are here, we decided to do our best and to keep a team and to pay taxes and to grow.
That wraps up AWANI tonight. I'm Farhana Sheikh. Thank you for watching.